Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm just doing my post review. So basically starting off with Euro USD, it just went straight to counter trend, take profits, but the daily never shifted in order for us to do it. Like the daily finally shifted to bearish when it went here, but we never had a pullback after that. Like it just shifted and went straight to take profit. So this one we didn't really get to take advantage of, and it was basically like structure levels right here. We were counter trend because we're having, weekly biases closing in favor of bearish, but it's just that we didn't have the daily in trend, so we had to wait until the daily shift. Usually the daily needs to shift on the if the yeah, if the daily needs to shift. It usually doesn't happen in the week, so I'm not too concerned with that. USD JPY, basically this was the weekly take profit here. This shouldn't have been a counter trend. It should be pro trend. So I don't know why this has it there, but it just basically like last week pushed up. It was here, and then this week it closed here. So now the weekly bias is against us. Um, yeah, the weekly bias, it's bearish. So we're going like this, and it closed this. So it is bearish. We are basically at the take profit for counter trend, so we can't trade this here. So this is going to be, we're not even going to be looking at this. So we're just going to leave this for like not this week because we're not even interested in that. USD DKK, this one already hit take profit. So basically same thing. It shifted. By the time it shifted, it was too close to take profit. So by the time it shifted, it just went straight into take profit. So here's the HUF. It was counter trend. It never shifted because this is where it's going to shift. So we need price to break. I wanted price to break lower than do it, but it never did it. So the next thing is just for price to break there. Actually, you can see there's like an accumulation on the daily here. So basically, we'll just wait for it to break out. But let me see what happened on the weekly. So basically, yeah, the weekly it closed in favor of a counter trend. Like you see, the weekly bias right here, it's strong. So this is a rocket candle. So you don't want to trade bearish against this. So we'd be looking for counter trend. Counter trend point is next. It's to here. So right now it's at a indecision candle, basically at mid. I don't like this. So whenever it's at an indecision candle, like price can just easily, like if we were trying to buy this up now, price can just go like this against us. So I'm not going to be interested in it solely because of this candle here. So we just wait for it to pull back to a proper area of interest first. So let me see. There is, there is here, right? Like we did pull back to an area of interest right there. Um, However, take profit would have to be here. I would say we're cool actually. So this week is actually looking bearish because we have indecision candle here at the area of interest on here. So the only thing we need is the daily to be in trend. So the daily right now is in trend because it hasn't broken that. So it's had the proper pullback. There's not too much wicks in this area. Like if it was wicky like this, I wouldn't want to trade in this area. This area is pretty clean. And then coming into this area does get kind of messy, but we would be looking for pro trends. Um, USD CZK, basically, it was the same thing. We were looking for buys. The week closed strong for buys again. But the daily needs to shift and it's already at the take profit. So pretty much it's not going to do it. And we're not at an area of interest yet. Like we would have to, I would just wait until we come up a little deeper. Um, yeah, I like something like that. So we just have to wait until it pulls back. So this one, we're not going to be interested in it this week. Your HUF, the weekly, we were at indecision. We were Did we already do this? Yeah. Well, yeah, now we're pro trend looking for sells down to here. Your AUD, we were so last week was here. And because the bearish, like because the candle is heavily bearish bias, we're not like so strong it is, we're not going to be looking to buy against that. So, but the only thing is the daily never shifted, so we needed the daily to shift before we can get into it. It's the same thing. We still need the daily to shift because it hasn't really pulled back to an area of interest. Euro GBP, this was the same thing. So because how we closed, like last week we closed like this wasn't like it's not an area of interest. Um, well, let's see now. Now we're at this level here. See, it's at this level right here. We get this, we get this. I would say we get all of that. So now it's at road trend and we're at an area of interest. So then we can just look at buying it back up. Um, and the daily is in trend as well too. And the 4 hour would probably just need like a shift. So basically, let's delete this. Basically, you just want to see the 4 hour break above, and then you can go back there. So this just needs a 4 hour shift to structure. So we're just going to put that there. Um, Euro AUD last week closed bearish. We didn't want to trade against that. This week, same thing, closed bearish, not an area of interest. So we're not interested in this until it gets to the area of interest. HUF, okay, add an area of interest. Yeah, looking for the daily to shift to bearish. So daily can just break down there, pull back, go, and it is a weekly one. And we didn't wicken to take profit on the previous wick, so we're good. We can still try to go down there. It just needs the daily shift to structure. So AUD USD, last week on the weekly, we were going pro trend. We hit take profit on here. This week, because of the bearish candle, you see the strength of it because we don't want to trade. Yeah, it's strong. It's a strong bearish candle. However, the daily would need to shift. So what I would want to see then is if the daily shifts like this out of this, you can go down and it would be like a counter trend trade to here. Just because of how like we don't trade against the daily bias or the weekly bias. Um, The only thing is by the time it shifts, it's already going to be here, right? And I don't want it to shift in here and then try to take it because see all these wicks on here, there's a very good chance that it will continue to wick. So for this one, I'm not even going to be interested in that one because it doesn't even look nice. USD SGD. Now, weekly bias, like last week, we closed very strong. So we'd be looking to short it and the daily we just needed it to pull back. So the daily is having a pullback. The weekly is still bearish. Well, now you have an indecision candle. So last week we were looking for it to push down. It never did it. All we had was the daily pushed and then it kind of just like pulled back. But we would be Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So Monday right here, it just never had to pull back in order for us to go. So we weren't interested in it. So we're still waiting for it to pull back. But we just can't trade it this week after an indecision because this is at mid now. So, so basically, I'm only taking trades when it's at the area of interest or the weekly bias is confirming that we can take it. Now, this is at mid, like in between getting to the area and take profit. So we're not interested in this. And then I would do like AUD cats, same thing. We pulled up to an area of interest. The daily is bearish. There is a lot of consolidation and stuff going on in this area in here. So we probably want to see it break out of that. Um, but it's okay. Like we are in a clearish area, so we would just want the 4 hour to shift. Bearish. So the 4 hour is bearish here. The 4 hour. Okay. So it's pulled back pretty nice. So this one's going to be like pretty much ready, the closest, just, and it has a rejection confirmation. So in Asia, we would just be looking for the accumulation break retest. Probably be looking for it um around like 7 or so my time. Okay, so let's see. AUDJPY weekly candle last week was at the area of interest. Now we're at the area of interest again. We have a weak weekly bias. So the weekly bias is not in our favor, but we are at the area of interest. So we're not even going to bother with that. The dailies had a nice pullback. The daily is cleaner than SGD, the last one we looked at. And then the 4 hour is currently bullish. At this point here, we broke bullish, so we would need the 4 hour to go bearish. So if it breaks above there, breaks the low, then we're good. Or if it just breaks the low and pulls back. But this just needs the 4 hour shift of structure, basically. Um, Euro JPY last week, we closed. We have all this like mess, like it's so choppy in here, like basically price is going to keep on rejecting whenever it gets like see how last week it closed, we got to the wick area, rejected, we got to the wick area, we rejected. So it basically seems like when there's a lot of wicks on the weekly, like when price gets into that, there's a higher chance of it rejecting, right? So all of this, like look how choppy it is moving sideways. So for that reason, I'm not even going to be interested in JPY because it's basically weekly is too choppy. Okay, I'm just gonna take a note of this real quick. So let me pause. Okay, so now we're on UK oil. So UK oil had a strong weekly bias against us. The only way we'd be interested in this is if we're at a weekly area of interest. So if we just bring this down to here, let's see where we're at. We have, I would say this could be a zone, to be honest. So we have one touch, two touch. How far back are what? It's 2017. We can't go back that far. Hold on. How far is this? 1921 would be the latest I would want to go back. So here we have one touch, two touch. Didn't make it there yet. So we're gonna wait. Basically, this just needs to make it to the area of interest. So last week, basically what happened was we had a strong weekly close. Um, so then we'd be looking at this week. And then on the daily needed a proper pullback. So when the week started, we had a pullback here, and then we were waiting for the 4 hour. So the daily was good. The daily only had a one candle pullback, which is fine because then we can, but the 4 hour, I don't think the 4 hour went in trend. So pulled back. The 4 hour went in trend right here. Then we were waiting for the 4 hour to pull back. When it pulled back, it never gave us our rejection confirmation, like anywhere within where we'd be looking for, so we just never bothered with that. But yeah, we did have a proper weekly bias for a sell. Um, it just never played out. So same thing again, we're just waiting for daily is pulled back properly. We're just waiting for the 4 hour to shift structure. So the simplest way would probably be if we just do like that. So waiting for the 4 hour shift structure. UK oil, what happened on, okay, so previous week, same thing like US or UK oil and US oil, the same thing. We closed, just the daily had the proper or a decent pullback, at least one candle. We just never had the 4 hour shift in our favor. Like, well, it did shift in our favor. We just never had the rejection confirmation to tell us that the potential lower high would be created. Euro GBP previous weekly closed bearish. So we would not be looking for buys because it's against the bias and we weren't at an area of interest. So that's why we left it. And that's exactly what happened. Like price just ended up flooring. So that's why you don't want to trade against the weekly bias because then price just ends up flooring. So let me just document this. All right. Okay. So that's all documented. So daily, oh, the daily shifted. Wait, what? I'm confused. Oh, right, because why were we looking for pro trench? Oh, right, because we went past the weekly structure already. So we went past there. That's why we were looking for pro trend. But now we're good. We just need the daily to shift, right? So simplest way to do it would just be Daily break above here and shift, and then we can go bullish. Okay, we already did all these. Your HUF, this one I think just hit take profit. So, oh, weird. Okay, so yeah, now we are pro trend, but this is all the way 2000. I think it's just a little too far back. We don't have a proper area of interest. Like we have two zones here, one zone, two zone. Uh, I just, it's not screaming at me, right? So I wouldn't even be interested in that just because of the two zones. And then the daily would need the daily is shifted, but the daily is like the daily is in all of this. I don't like that when there's all these wicks on here. So I want the daily to make a clear breakout. But either way, so because yeah, that's how it did it. We just weren't interested. And last week we couldn't even buy it because like not at a weekly area of interest. I'm surprised, like, how did this make it into here when it was not at a weekly area of interest? Oh, weird. So we're not going to be interested in it this week. Um, we have to go through all of these other ones here. I'm just going through the ones that played out and see what happens. So I think that is basically it. Oh, did we already do this? Yeah, this was invalid because of all this mess. Even though we're at an area of interest now, I would. Yeah, I would say this is okay. Like it is wicky in this area. Like I don't like it when there's so many wicks, like all this area and everything like that. But if it gives us the opportunity, we can look at taking it. We just need everything to clear up a little. I just don't know how well that will work. Um, and GU last week we had a weekly bias close bearish, right? So we wouldn't be looking for bullish buys there. Also, we have a weekly target on here. It's just the daily never shifted. So now did the daily shift? Perfect. Okay, so the daily did shift now, right? And we had a daily pullback. It is like see all these wicks and stuff there. So chances are, since it rejected these wicks here, we can look at it rejecting it again. Um, just don't want it to get it. Like it is kind of messy. Um, so what then I would do, the cleanest way to do it would just be like just wait for it to break this. Like a nice break, right? Because here it did break out of here, but this is such a tiny break that didn't do anything. We need like a decisive break, like something break out and then we can go. So we just need this to make like a daily shift. Um, There were the active trades. So basically, the first one was CAD-JPY. All right. Okay. So previous weekly bias closed bullish, right? So because it closed bullish, yeah, bullish, we had take profit on there. The weekly or the daily, um, Monday was right here. Yeah, so the weekly was bullish, or the daily was bullish. The daily had a proper pullback. Look how clean it is. Like no wicks in this area. There's wicks in this area here, but it just pulled back clean. There's no messy traffic or anything here. So nice, clean daily pullback, right? And we had the 4 hour was in trend as well too. The 4 hour gave us rejection confirmation. It just wasn't when we were looking for it. Let's see, Monday. We got one on Tuesday here at 7 a.m., but it just never gave us the accumulation break retest for us to get in, I don't think. Let me double check. So we got it here. So then after 11 a.m. would be tradable. So we need to make sure the 30-minute is in trend. The 30-minute is in trend. What's the 15-minute saying? 50-minute had broken trend, so I wouldn't be interested in that until the 15-minute shifts back. Okay, and then see how the 15-minute like shifted. So like it didn't give us a chance to get in because it didn't shift. What's going on here? I don't think it did it. Yeah, see, it never broke above that line. It just when it did, it gave this massive thing here. So we couldn't get in on that. Um, so basically, yeah, now we have another rejection, right? So we have another rejection. This one was at 3 p.m. So it would be tradable from like 7 p.m. So then same thing, we need to make sure the 30 minutes in trend once we get to 7. So let's push. 30-minute is in trend. The 15-minute is also in trend because this is still high. This is still a higher low. This is still a higher high. So the 15-minute is still in trend. So it is kind of doing some weirdness on here. We would want it to create some sort of internal liquidity, retest it, and then go. But since the 15 minutes in trend, we can check the 5-minute. The 5-minute broke trend here. So the 5-minute's not in trend, so we can't use the 5-minute. So basically, we'd be looking for entry on the 50-minute or the 5-minute. Here we kind of have something here. If it breaks above it, retest it and go again. See, it got close, but it didn't actually break it. So now you have another level there. Okay, now we broke above. Go back real quick. Now we broke above, we would want a retest of this, but we never got one. But now the 5 minutes will be in trend. So the 5 minutes in trend now, we have this retest here, and we get an engulfing. And this is actually a perfect entry. I don't even think I saw this one. What was this? 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Yeah, I wouldn't have been looking at that. Um, so yeah, now we have the 15-minute in trend, a 30-minute in trend. 30 minutes in trend, right? Yeah, 15-minute in trend, 30-minute in trend, 5-minute in trend, 5-minute gave the engulfing. So right here, the accumulation, like this is it right here. So basically we would go here, 9, 8, it's basically 13. We can just go 14 like that. Um, and then the other thing is we have to keep in mind where we're entering, right? So let me see if I didn't enter here because it wasn't at an area of interest or something. So we would go to the 4 hour. Um, yes. Okay. So we reacted off of here already. So this is good. We actually could have gotten an entry earlier. We have to make sure we get out before, or make sure that we have enough range before we get to this 0.25 zone on here, because price will just, people always try to get take profit. It doesn't always go there. So I want to make sure my entry will get to at least here, and then I'll be out before everyone else. So like I said, okay, now we have everything here. I don't think this entry would have been good, to be honest. It's a good thing we avoided it because like it just wasn't in session. Like I think that's the main reason why we didn't take it. It wasn't in session. Like I'm not gonna be trading like 10 p.m. What is that? That's like end of Asia. There's no volume at that time, so I'm not looking at it at that time. So, which is a good thing because it would have gotten stopped out even though everything is perfect. So what we did was now that we kept on getting rejection confirmations, right? So I would then same thing again, make sure the 30-minute is bullish. So the 30-minute is bullish. We got to make sure the 15-minute is bullish. 15-minute is bullish. Now we got to make sure the 5-minute is bullish. 5-minute is bullish. So we need some sort of nothing there, nothing here, nothing here. And then here we get a retest of this accumulation. So 1, 2, 3, 4 accumulation engulfing right there. And then we just went below the whole entire shift. So I think, did I take this on the 15? Nah, I would have taken it on the 5 minute because we would have missed entry there. So right there was the engulfin. Um, I saw all of this as the accumulation, this whole leg here, and the other part we got in was here. So basically, like 1 wick, 2 wick here. So this structure, this would have been the lowest on here, this structure point right here. 8, basically say 34, right? 34. So basically, yeah, we got, because we're using this leg on here, we want all of this. We're using all of this. CAD JPY, like 30 something pips for a stop loss is decent. And then I'm not gonna pay it out on it. Kind of like, I wasn't really paying attention. I just set my alarm and ignored it. See, that would have gotten stopped out, but it actually didn't get stopped out because how we actually set our stop loss. So our stop loss was so lucky because we chose this here, this swing, and then we went 5 pips under that. So we were at 32, so we went to 37, and is the only reason why we didn't get wicked out. So we got super lucky. We weren't even paying attention. I just came back one day and then I saw it's back here, and then I was like, oh, it did all that. Surprised it didn't stop me out with spreads. Um, so yeah. I was extremely lucky because usually I would put my stop loss like here. Well, we wouldn't be trading this session here because I don't want to trade London anymore. So here, I just got lucky. Like I looked at London, like, well, this is pre-London, right? End of Asia. I looked in London. I was like, oh, we have a thing. Let me just enter in London, right? But this was Asia session, late Asia ending. So that's why we didn't enter it there. And then the stop loss, we literally got lucky just because we looked at it and we're like, okay, this here, we are using this leg on here. Usually I wouldn't even make it that long. I would just use this leg on here and then add 5 pips. But something came over me and I was like, we're going to put it here. And yeah, we got really lucky with that. And it ended up going to take profit. I didn't get in here again, but I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, I wonder if there is a way to get in again. And I think it got close. Oh, okay, it did actually work. I didn't get in here again, though. I was kind of just like looking at it, like, oh, we have 5 minute, 30 minutes in trend and everything like that. And then we had the rejection confirmation. Here we have 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4 wick, 5 wick stops above the accumulation with 5 points. Um, and the only reason why I didn't take it here is because we didn't have enough range to this box here. Like 1.2 R is not really worth it. But I'm glad this trade played out by pure luck. That's one thing I learned from here is just like not to interfere with the trades. Just put your stop loss and take profit, set your alerts, and then just let it go. You can't do anything in between that. And in the meantime, I was just scalping gold, so I didn't really care about this to be honest. Um, but the stop loss on here, it's like 14 pip stop loss compared to a 37 pip stop loss, right? So I guess one thing to know with CAD JPY is you can't go 14 pip stop losses. You need to go like at least 30 pips, right? If we went 30 pips, 2.84 to that, we would have still been in on this. So good thing to know about CAD JPY. I'm gonna put this in my notes is that, yeah, you need at least like a minimum of 30 pips to do that. So actually what I can just do is just add a note right here. That way we know, Like we'll come here, we'll be like, okay, this always needs 30 pips. Okay, and then the other one was NZD-JPY. I entered, let me go here, click off replay. Okie doke. So it was previous weekly bias, close as this like blue rocket candle here, this bullish candle on here. right? So it closes that. Usually we don't like buying with these, but I was like, it is like you want it to be like a strong, like see how this candle is like it is one of these candles, but like look at the body compared to look at the body of here, right? So it is relative, like you need to look at the candle closes. The bigger the body it closes on with, then the stronger the candle is, and it makes a huge difference. Like this one closed tiny, but like look at the wick rejection on this, like right? So same thing kind of here. We had a blue rocket. It was a little bit of smaller body, but we had a long wick rejection. Some same prices don't want to go down, right? And then the daily had proper pullback and everything. Jeez. Okay, daily had the proper pullback. 4 hour had a proper pullback. Um, we got the rejection confirmation right here, so we'd be looking after that. So this was at 7 a.m. So then we would go to the 30 minute at the time, and then you can see the 30 minute went bullish here. So the 30 minute went bullish. Then we would go to the 15 minute. The 15 minute is also bullish, right? And the 5 minute was also bullish. And here we have you can see it. The accumulation right here. One, two, three, four wicks right there. Break, retest, engulf in right here. But the only reason why I didn't take it here was because the 30 minute hadn't shifted bullish yet. So if we go on the 30 minute, you'll see, no, 30 minute was bullish. Bullish. 30 minute was bullish. Oh, did we not get no, wait, what? At the time, I remember looking at it saying something looks off. We're going here. We'd be starting at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m. Yeah, 7 a.m. we finally closed above, right? So 7 a.m. we finally closed above here. So then we would have to start looking after, so starting at 7:30 because we needed the 7 a.m. 7 a.m. to 7:30 candle close bullish. So we finally broke bullish above this level on here. So then we would start looking after here. So we ignored this entry on here, right? And basically, we're like, okay, the 15 minute is bullish. Like it made a nice push pullback. Nothing is invalid. So if you see my rules on here, this is the proper, well, this one here, but it was just out of time or out of like not proper timing. So we go here, we have, I don't like how this one's floating like this. So we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, not interested in that. 15 minute is bullish. Let's see what the 5 minute looks like. 5 minute had shifted structure to bearish. So would have been on the 15 that I entered somehow. Probably. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, right. I know what happened. So, okay. So 15 minute, right? We go here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We rested on the base. Then what happened was I was like, okay, if price gets here, I have an exception to the rule right here. We just do less than 2 pips basically. So we got an engulfing right here, and it was about to retest this neckline on here. So I was like, if we close within this zone on here, because this zone from the neckline, so started from the base of the neckline to where the engulfing landed, it was 1.5 pips. So because it's within the exception on here, then it is an engulfing, and we never had any engulfings violating the next neckline. So we had price close through, but it wasn't an engulfing that broke and closed through it, right? So that's good. And then we have the exception. If price doesn't make it directly to the accumulation neckline on there, as long as it's within 2 pips, right, then you can still take it. So I saw that, and then I entered right here on the 15 minute. And same thing. Well, this because we're entering at the 0.25, 0.38, we don't have to target that. Like we would just go to 2R. So basically it just closed right here. So those are the two trades that I entered, and that's the weekly breakdown for the week of that was the 4th, so May 4th to about May 9th. So yeah. And then now I'm going to do my Sunday breakdown. This was just a weekly recap of everything that happened.